Hi there, I'm David Papini, and 2 weeks ago I published my first video in English, and it was about my top 11 list of errors or mistakes or misunderstandings we all have about emotions. After that video I got a lot of help and I asked for advice to my contacts, and I got a lot of useful suggestions about how to make the video better. Actually, in this video you won't see that, because this is just a video I'm taping on the fly just to answer another thing that was wrong in that video, which was I skipped the number 4 reason, the one that I called "you make me feel something," and someone asked me, was it just a trick in order to keep the attention on your video, or was it a real mistake? Actually, it was a real mistake. I taped the video in a studio, and then when I looked at them in post-production, I realized that I was just skipping the number 4. But I didn't want to tape it again, so I just put this sentence at the bottom of the video, saying, yes, I know I skipped the number 4, ask me about that, send me an email if you are interested in number 4. And actually I got a bunch of emails of people interested in, tell me more about number 4. But it wasn't a trick, it was just an error. So this is a just homemade video in order to address the infamous, at this point, number 4 for emotions. So when we say "you make me feel," intending that I feel something, and what I feel, it depends on, is made by someone else, like in the Aretha Franklin song "You make me feel like a natural woman." Actually, I think we misunderstand the way we deal with emotions. You may think that it's just a linguistic issue. Because what I'm going to say right now is the correct way to say this is, when you do or say something, I feel this or I feel that. So when something happens outside me, I react feeling something, feeling some kind of emotion. And it may seem just a light difference among the two. Actually, it's a linguistic issue, but in a sense different from what you may think. First of all, if you say "you make me," what you do linguistically is putting your accountability on someone else for that emotion. So you feel an emotion, but it's not accountable to you because it's someone else that makes you feel like that. So first problem with this sentence is that it puts all the responsibility for this emotion outside of you. And if this is an emotion that you want to change, that's not good, because it's difficult to change something which is not made by you or controlled by you. And second, when you say "you make me feel," you put a relationship between a cause and an effect. There is someone that does something and cause you feel something else. So you put your emotions in this cause-effect mechanism, which is something which is really powerful and very widespread in our lives and in the way we talk about our experiences. For example, there is this great book which is by a linguistic and a psychologist, his name is Steven Pinker, and the book is The Stuff of Thought. And this is a book translated also in Italian, and the translation is interesting because the Italian translation is "fatti di parole," which means made of words, meaning that we humans are made of words, and there is a strict relationship between the real thing, the reality and the real self we have, and the way we talk about that. Problem is that, as Steven Pinker say, all our language is full of physical metaphors, like moving, like doing something to someone else, like feeling something or emptying something. So for example, classical example is we move meetings from one time to another, but there is nothing that actually moves from A to B when you move a meeting, or you feel moved when you see something that hits you emotionally. And so our language is very physical, and in this language there is also embedded an idea or how things works in reality. For example, one idea is we have an idea of physics in our language, an idea of who does what to whom, the idea of that there is always an agent that does something to someone else, the idea of cause and effect, and so on. And sometimes this is wrong, this is scientifically wrong, but it's real common sense. For example, I have here this small ball I took from my child, and there is a famous experiment where if I ask you, for example, I just throw this ball up and up, and I ask you what are the forces that are applied to this ball when I throw the ball up, and you may be tempted, and I am too, because I'm no scientist, I'm not a physicist, to say that there are two, because one is gravity and the other one is the force that I apply to the ball with my arm, which is actually scientifically wrong, because the only force that is going to be applied to this ball is just gravity. But we always have this idea, an evolutionary created idea, which is there is something, an agent that does something to something else, because of course we do not account for gravity in our common sense, at least in this case. So again, even in this case, there could be a sense like there is a cause, my arm or me doing something to this ball that makes this ball moving. And this is the same rough idea that is behind you make me feel. This is the idea that in our language, but also in the way we deal with emotions, that there is something that someone does to someone else. And the problem is that when you are going to deal with relationships, one-to-one or in groups, looking at things this way, it doesn't help, because usually you want to use emotion in a productive way, but if you put responsibility, accountability for your emotion to someone else or to something, some phenomenon which is outside you, actually you lose the possibility or the chance to work with this emotion. And also, there is another more subtle issue with you make me feel, which is like this. When you say you make me feel, it's like you say, if you do this, I feel that. And it's a sort of if-then relationship. If this happens, if you say this, I feel this. And it's another way to put the cause-effect relationship. Software programmers know very well these things, like when you test a condition in a software, they say if this, then else, then this, else, this, else, and so on. So it's a very common construct. But again, think of this. When I say if you say this thing, I feel bad, there is another concept in this sentence, which is the concept of time. First you say something, then I feel something. So it's not happening at the same time. Even in the more synchronous relationship, in order to have a feeling, you need the stimulus before. So the cause, by definition, comes always before the effect. So let's say that you want to deal with your emotions and you use them in a productive way. The only time where an emotion exists is the present, is right now. Right now I feel some way. It's not the same I was feeling a moment ago, or it's not the same I will feel after I finish this video, or when I will get your feedback. So an emotion is something that happens in the present, in your body in the present. And if you want to use emotion in a productive way, you need to deal with present, in the moment. When you say, if this happens, I will feel like this, actually you put your thought in the future or in the past, and you're not dealing with the emotion, you are dealing with an hypothesis. Let me explain better, maybe. I don't know you, but it happens to me. It happened more when I was a child, but that kind of game, scary game that you do in your mind when you think of scary things that could happen, even very painful things, like you fantasize that you are going to lose some dear ones, you are fantasizing that could happen something like an earthquake, or you think you are going to lose your parents. I mean, when there is no reason to do that, just thinking. When you think something that bad that is going to happen in the future, as soon as you do that, you get a feeling in the present. You get fear, you get pain, and we use this like a simulation, like a way to prepare for something that could happen but it's not there. Even if, for example, let's say I'm forecasting how I will behave in a job interview. So I'm doing it now, but the job interview will be in the future. What I feel is now regarding this thought is not actually what I will be feeling when I will be in the actual job interview. So I hope I'm getting to the point. Emotion are in the present. Every time you deal or you talk about emotion, putting them linked to something that happened in the past or linked to something that is going to happen, you are moving from the present. And emotion is not the kind of thing that you can put in the fridge now and take it out next week. It's not something that you can consume in different moments than in the present. What you can do is with your thoughts, you can generate different emotions at different times, recalling events and so on. But emotions is in the present. So if you want to harness the power of emotions, and you want to change the way you feel in a specific situation, you have to do that in real time, not in the future or in the past. And this is why I think that putting the cause-effect mechanism in sentences about emotions, it's a bad thing. It's like linking what happens in the present to something which is not in the present. It may be another individual, it may be something that happened in your past. But this way, actually, you do not harness the power of emotion. You become defensive about emotions, and you lose what's important in emotions, which is the energy, and which is the truth of the emotion in the present moment.